Hi, I'm Erin Cusenbary. I'm a senior middle blocker from Trinity University, and I'm honored to be the SCAC Character and Community Involvement Female Athlete of the Week. I think this award means a lot more to me. I've gotten volleyball awards before, and that's really nice and flattering, but I think this award recognizes more of who I am instead of what I do on the volleyball court, and that just matters a lot more to me because volleyball is really kind of a small part of my life. I obviously spend a lot of time doing it, and I work really hard at my sport, but it's just a little piece of who I am, so I think it's nice to get an award that recognizes me instead of how hard I can hit a volleyball. Well, I think all good leaders lead by example, and that's something I've kind of learned over the years. I've had a lot of really great leaders in my life, like teachers and peers on the volleyball team and coaches, and I think all the best leaders do instead of talk about what they're going to do. I think it's easy just to say we're going to go do this and we're going to do that, and really good leaders do first and talk after the fact. So I've tried to learn a little bit from every good leader I've had. I've had some really awesome teammates, some great team captains in the past, so I try to really take from each of their experiences and from being led by them and use that when I'm leading the team or leading student athletes. And it's also kind of hard sometimes to really translate being a leader on the volleyball court to being a leader in the classroom or in my sorority. You know, I can't slap someone on the butt and tell them to get the next ball in the classroom, so sometimes it's hard to transition between different groups because every group needs something different from you. But I really think that you have to do before you can talk about what you're doing, and that's what I try to keep in mind as SCAC president and as captain, and in my sorority too. The honest answer to that question is I just make it work, I make it happen. Any student athlete will tell you that it's really hard to balance everything, but student athletes will also tell you that time management is crucial, and that's something we learned very early on. So I think the longer I've played volleyball and the more involved I've been in different organizations, the better I've gotten about managing my time. But I also really like to be busy. I like being involved in lots of things and getting the chance to meet different groups of people and kind of have my toes in lots of different pools, I guess. So yeah, I just try to make it all work, but I would rather be busy than not have a lot going on. The Vintage Fly Museum is a museum in Fort Worth, like I said, founded by my grandparents, actually, my mom's parents. My grandparents had a vintage World War II plane, a B-17, that my grandpa gave to my grandma as a gift a long time ago. So they started this museum kind of based around the B-17. And just my grandparents' love for aviation and planes, and especially vintage planes. So they kind of accumulated planes over the years, and today it's a really huge hangar with all these different, you know, vintage planes and helicopters and World War II memorabilia. And I've been going there since a little kid because they have a fundraiser every year that has a huge big band, and you have swing dancers from all over the country come and dance, and it raises money for the museum. And so it's really fun for me to volunteer there just because my family's there, and I have kind of grown to love the planes and the whole atmosphere of the museum. And it's accessible. My family's made volunteering and community service really accessible to me, and they've made it really fun too. So the Vintage Fly Museum is, you know, part of my family, really. It's not as much community service, at least that's not how I think about it. And the next one is Ethics Follies, which is kind of another family tie, I guess. My dad and one of his colleagues a few years ago, probably about 10 years ago, started Ethics Follies. It's a big musical production. It's like basically a musical with lawyers and other professionals in it who dance and sing and, you know, feather boas everywhere. But Ethics Follies raises money for the Community Justice Program, which provides legal services to people who can't afford it here in San Antonio, which I've always thought was really fascinating because I want to go to law school. So it's neat to see that in action and see how my parents, especially my dad, is helping out the community. So I've been involved in Ethics Follies simply because it's been at my house for the last 10 years and my parents are in it, my whole family's in it. I've acted in it once, so I guess I lied. My last interview, I acted a couple times after 8th grade. But yeah, Ethics Follies is also a great way for me to meet other lawyers and professionals in the community, which is cool, because like I said, I want to go to law school, so it's interesting to hear about different perspectives from lawyers and what they're doing, and also to know that you can be involved in other things besides your job when you're an adult, which is always encouraging. Yeah, and the last one I talked about was Letters to Troops, which I got involved in with my sorority, and it's not really one organization so much as kind of a movement to really remind troops that are deployed abroad, especially during the holidays, to remind them that we're still thinking about them, we still know they're there. And that's something I've done every year since my freshman year being here. Thanks mostly to my sorority, they opened that up to me. But I think all three of those are organizations I really care about and are kind of different and interesting, which is why I picked them and have stuck with them for so long. And like I said, my family's been really great about making community service accessible and giving me all these cool different opportunities to give back, and that's what my parents have really instilled in me, is loving where I come from. You know, San Antonio is my home. I grew up here. I go to school here, so I think it's important to give back to your home, you know, show it some love.